HEYITSMENESSERRR, welcome back to another episode. Today I have an interview with the one and only Jafaris.
UNCLE JAFA no relation.
Come on.
What you telling me?
Okay, I was gonna gas you, but you gas yourself still.
I just told you I am.
But yeah, so as the majority of people know, Jafaris is, I was gonna say probably, definitely my favorite Irish artist. I'm not just saying that because you're here. But yeah,
I've heard you say it before. I appreciate it.
You were just like, oh my god, obsessed.
But
But yeah, so yeah, just gonna get into things, talk about the EP, all of that. So how's that doing so far anyway?
It's it's out. It's doing this thing. Still trying to push it as much as I can. Obviously, I'm pretty bad at like promoting myself, as you've noticed.
I didn't say anything. I was agreeing because I feel like everyone that does anything is really bad at promoting themselves. I don't think like
some people, a lot of people.
Some people who shamelessly promote themselves, that's not good promotion. You're just shoving it down our throats. That's different.
It works though.
This is true.
I guess it's just that confidence, having that confidence in yourself that like, yes, this is it, and everyone should hear it. I still battle with that sometimes.
Do you?
Because I love my music, but I'm not so quick to assume that everyone else should love it. Do you get me?
Yeah, like we know you love your music. You're a hoarder. Like,
it's just because it's
yeah.
I guess it's just me on the track. Do you get me? So I'm not assuming that the whole world's gonna like it, but I guess I push it enough for the people who are supposed to connect to it to connect.
That's funny because I wouldn't have gotten that vibe from you at all.
Why?
Like I wouldn't say that you're like cocky, but like I feel like when you drop something, I don't think I would ever expect you to drop something that you weren't ready to drop. Like
that's true.
Like so then in that in itself is enough confidence.
I guess yeah.
Like from the outsider point of view, do you know what I mean? Like
I guess I'm confident enough to just be like, yo, whatever happens, happens. You get me? But it's when I'm in a room where I have to kind of sell myself and tell people, oh yeah, listen to this song.
You're just like, dude, listen to the music and
yeah,
you'll know.
Yeah, in your own time, like go catch it. You get me? Like if
you're probably just dropping if you want at the end, like.
And I know that's so bad because you can't sell yourself like that. But for me, music isn't really. I know it's my career and I have to make money from it, but
do you have to make money from it? Is that what like is?
I don't have to. I suppose now. It's mad you even asked that, but now in my life I feel like music is becoming more of a hobby. Do you get me? Like again, because it was a hobby before and then it became business. And I guess I have to put that hat on. But now I'm kind of branching out into other avenues where I'm like, oh, I could probably just make those my income streams, and then this just the thing that I do because I feel like doing it. Do you get me?
Do you feel like that comes from a sense of doing so well with the first with Stride, or was it just kind of like you've just put so much effort into it that now you're?
Do you know what? I don't think I haven't broken the ceiling. Do you get me? I'm not successful like that. Do you get me? In the context of Ireland, yeah, I'm okay and I get support, but that's not where I would see myself going.
You're almost like the poster boy for Irish hip hop. Like
it's getting a bit rinsed. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many other people out here.
But that's what they do, isn't it? They get one of us
It's a token thing. Do you get me? It's a token thing.
But it's not even though, because I feel like tokenism is.
There's two sides.
Yeah,
to it.
it's like you work to get there.
Yeah, like,
but then at the same time.
There's more.
Exactly.
There's other people who are working just as hard, if not harder than me, but you're just not seeing that.
Yeah.
Or maybe the music they make isn't really what you're promoting right now.
Yeah, it's like opportunity and preparation type thing.
There's so many factors to it, but.
But do you think your music has a lot to do with that though? Because like I feel like your music is very much. I think that you can be a poster boy, token, whatever, because of the type of music. For example, someone like Officer can't do that because his music is not like. They're not playing A92 link up on beat, like. You know?
No, I think that is a factor. That's probably a big factor, but it's also because I'm just in the position I'm in, like with the team I have and like the connections they have and the resources we have. It's almost like we're trying to build an industry around ourselves. Do you get me? So we have enough of those powers to push it further than I guess a lot of people, but the music kind of makes it stick to some extent, but it's not like a conscious thing to be like, oh, I know that this is what they're gonna like and blah blah blah. It's more like I genuinely just love making music. I have like a plethora of things that I make. Do you get me? I think I'm just in the stage. Like I think I'm in the stage of like, I was just experimenting. Now I kind of want to break it into parts, and like this is just the first version of Jafaris that I suppose garnered the attention, and that's what's scary about the industry is like if now I want to show another side, it's like I might compromise this fan base or whatever. But
fans are crazy. I speak for myself.
Yeah, that's why I say like I want to just make it like a hobby more so, because like I don't want to have those pressures. Do you get me? I don't want to have to feel like.
So it's more from like a psychological mindset for yourself type thing.
Yeah, just like this is like when I'm in the room making this music, I enjoy what I'm doing. Even when it's super poppy or it's super grungy or it's super ignorant or whatever, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So I'm like, I feel like the energies you put into music, some people feel it. Do you get me? Like it matches with other people.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people who are like me in the world. I just have to reach them. Do you get me?
Yeah, and I think like two sides of that is like I think I've heard you say before that you didn't plan on putting out "I Love You" but I'm in a bad mood. But obviously, if that's the perspective you take from music, where you're being yourself and you're being expressive, what you felt and whatever just came out naturally, and then it just became good music, and you were like,
I suppose because music is my career, I have to be dropping something. Do you know what I mean? Which was sort of like an added pressure to be like, oh, you have to create something. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's be in the studio. I'm already making a lot of music anyways. But then I'm making songs, but with no real intention of making a project. I'm just making songs. Maybe this could be a single, maybe this could work here, whatever. But each song was just about this situation. You get me? So all right, cool. Again.
Yeah.
I just definitely got really frustrating. But some of the songs were like, I like this song. I like this song, and I'll play it to people. It's like, oh, this is good, cool. And then I kind of started structuring it in the sense of like, all right, this is actually how I want to tell the story, based on what I've already been feeling. And then
I think you definitely succeed at that. I know like there's like success in different areas, platforms, but I think like something that you're so good at is emotive music. Like I think when you listen to music, I think you know what you're trying to say, like, and like everyone will feel it differently, but you know, like especially like for example, like Glue. When I heard the beat of Glue, I was like, this is not a love song, like this is not a sad song. And then I heard the lyrics, and then I was like, okay. And then it, like initially I was just like, would you not have just made like a sad beat to it and make it sad? But it makes sense how you were feeling, because it's so confused in the whole, like, and it's like I think that's why personally I can relate to you a lot, because it's like Stride is literally, when I say literally, the soundtrack to my life. No, like I don't even mean to gas you like that. Like I'm being 100% honest. Like I'm not, like, I would never say something that I don't mean. Like, and I think it's I don't know, like I think that's well done, first of all. I think it's like, even if you change the type of music, or like it's essentially like beat wise or whatever, I think that part of you will still stick, because I don't think you do anything else. Not in a sense that you don't make music, but it's like that's you as an artist. Like, you know, there's certain artists like there's just a pinnacle of them, regardless of what they, from my point of view anyway. So I was like, personally, I would like to hear different genres. If you want to bring Afro beats, I don't care.
That's crazy you say that, because I feel like I've definitely been having a lot of conversation. And this, another part that I hate about being in the music industry is like, you're hearing so many opinions from
unprovoked as well.
You get me? It's like nobody asked, but like, and it's I'm of the mentality that I'm still a learner. Do you get me? I'm still a baby in this thing.
You have to, yeah.
So cool. I'm listening to executives, producers, managers, whatever, and then just normal people, my friends, whatever, and everyone has very different views of what they think my music is, should be, how I should do it, what I should say, all of this stuff, and I'm just like, so there's a bunch of you guys that think this, and then you guys think this, you guys think, so like, how am I supposed to know which one's right?
But we're all listening to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
No one is right.
That's what I like.
Is that like, does that bring like added pressures almost because you're not sure?
It just, I think it's frustrating because I only started making music literally because it found me. Do you get me? Like it just is what it is. Like this is just what I love to do, and this is how I express myself, or whatever. When you start crossing the boundary of art into business, then it becomes something that's like, all right, how do I package this art and how do I make these people like it and blah, 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 blah. And you always have to constantly think of like, who's gonna push this further for me? And when you're thinking about someone else pushing it further for you, you have to kind of please them in a way, do you get me? So you're compromising, even in the most subtle ways. Like I'll still say I hold my integrity in like what I'm saying. It's like, it's still me and it's still self-conscious, but sometimes the sonics are dictated by like the producer, or they're dictated by radio or this and that. You get me? And it's like
time was definitely radio.
Yeah, but that at the same time, it's not intentional.
Yeah,
it's just like when I make so much music that like when I make those songs, it's like those are the songs. I guess my managers or someone would like gravitate towards, like, oh yeah, this is good, this is good. And at the time, I'm just like, I'm just making music. Yeah. I don't know any better. It's cool. Like maybe that's gonna work, and yeah, cool.
Is there a song on either projects that you've been like, this is the one, and it's just not been the most, and like another one is like risen, or have you been pretty accurate, or your team been pretty accurate?
The one in Stride, I would say, Found My Feet. I kind of fought for that to come out first. You get me? I just felt like it was different. It was like strange. I felt like I stumbled upon a sound that was just untapped, and I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. And I was still being myself, and I was still carrying the narrative. So I was like, all right, cool. I want to drop that, but it was like it's like it sounds like it's radio, but it's not really radio. Like we don't know what genre to put it in, and that was the feedback from like industry people, and that's why like it was like a battle to be like, so what? Like let's just drop it. Like let's just see what happens. Like, because I still feel like it's trial and error right now. Do you get me? Until we're on the world stage, right now we have all the room to make all the mistakes because only our families and stuff are seeing it. Really, do you get me? So make as much mistakes as you can so you know not to do that again. And I dropped it, and that's the I guess one of the songs that consistently keeps getting like syncs and being put on My Feet. Ads. Yeah, because it's a hype. Like you could it goes on a lot of playlists. Yeah, so like Time, personally, I'm sick of it because like every day after training it would just come on, and I literally I'm like, oh my god, this is Jafaris, everyone listen. Yo. And then after a while it comes on and I'm like, nah, I'm sorry, I've done my dues. People from the world are watching this. This is how small Ireland is. It's like literally some like artists are rinsed here, like people that played back to back. Back to back. Do you feel like finding your target audience is hard because it's Ireland as well? Because like I said to you in one of my other interviews that Ireland is blessed because it's underdeveloped, but obviously underdeveloped isn't always it's not a good thing in the first place. Like, is that hard then? Because obviously in England there's specific like people and categories. Like in Ireland it's almost like anyone can fit in anywhere. You know what's hard? It's harder here is because we are still trying to find ourselves. Like, as there's no Irish sound. From a black perspective, it's like I'm coming from Zimbabwe, coming to Ireland, grabbing that culture, and then being influenced by the UK and America and having family in these places. It's like already I'm confused just by that notion by itself. So like trying to appeal to a certain demographic is like, who am I? Like who am I even going to be talking to? Do you get me? But it's funny because there's like, was it like 2% of us that all feel the same way? Yeah. Literally, I don't think I've not heard a black person in Ireland say that. Yeah. But it's like, in that sense, then is the growth and the development that we're looking for from the industry or whatever, is that a realistic target then? Because it is something that will develop. Even with saying that, I think it's just hard to articulate who we are, but we already are who we are. Do you get me? Being black and Irish is already very different to the UK experience or the American experience. You get me? So even just the little nuances of like getting a chicken fillet roll or a spice bag or like little things like that are just, it's culture. Do you get me? This is actually our culture. I think it's just about more people embracing it and like making it, I guess, appeal to the wider audience. You know, rather than just trying to do what everyone else is doing, I suppose. But
I think that's changed a lot this year, because I've heard a lot more Irish artists actually
sound Irish.
Not even sound Irish, because that in itself is debatable. Because like even on Zatello's thing, everyone's like, some people have Irish accents, some people have American accents, and people are fighting over what you should sound like. But just people mention Irish things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, even like, for example, I think it was Pat Lagoon in Prada, he says like, I don't know, saying like he's going on like bus 5 or whatever up to Dublin, and it's like stuff that you can relate to, as opposed to, obviously there's always going to be the room for the American sounds and the the UK sounds, but it's like until we start bigging ourselves up and talking about our own things, there's nothing we still can't relate to that. Like obviously like music in itself, like people cap a lot, but it's like that's almost allowed because it's music. So if I'm in the back arse of nowhere and I'm talking about drillings and stuff, like, and I'm just surrounded by cows, like that's still gonna slap. But
you know, that's another thing as well, like creating the environment for people to tell better stories, because the environment we live in is pretty mundane. Do you get me? Everything is the same. Getting the Lewis, whatever, chilling, whatever you do is just like every day is the same. In bigger places like America or the UK, it's like you're always experiencing something new. Do you get me? It's like something different happens.
So what I hear is that you are promoting violence in Ireland.
No.
I'm kidding. We want more drilling.
See, that's mad, because see, with drill, it's like the music came, and in order for the music to stick, they have to create that environment. Do you get me? Like they have to do something bad so they can say it on the track, so that people can say that's credible.
Exactly.
Do you get me? But I suppose with what we have, just Ireland's just chilled, everything's comfortable, you know what I mean? There's no beef really, it's just more ignorance. There's nothing really deep like that. It's like, what else are you expected to talk about? Do you get me? How can you make this lifestyle sound cool? Do you get me?
So then, like, as someone who, like, I would say is very emotive and you're very expressive, is that hard then for you when you're expressing things that Ireland is small? So for example, the EP, so like you're obviously speaking about someone, and people who know you would also know that person, know that situation. Was that something you had to think about, like whether do I want to drop this? How are people going to see it? Like, what are people going to think of?
I'm a weirdo, man. I'm just like an open book. I feel like I tell everyone all my secrets.
Yeah, overshare.
Yeah, I'm a big overshare. So like with the music, it was almost second nature. It's like, yo, people already know this anyway. So it's like, this is just me expressing it from my perspective without other outside opinions on the story.
Did you have to explain it to her? And just be like, hey, by the way, you might hear some things.
She's an artist as well. Okay. And it's such a weird dynamic because we are cool. Like, you get me? It wasn't a bad ending. Well, it was like...
It gets bad after it ends.
Do you get me? Yeah, it was cool. But I guess after the whole breakup, whatever, and a while after, it's like, started like talking here and there and stuff. And obviously, Ireland's small, so you're going to bump into each other. And there were certain cases where she would be in the studio or whatever, and I'd play her some songs from the project, you get me? Or the songs that I was assuming would be on the project. And yeah, it was cool. Like she just took it. Some songs she got emotional, and we had conversations, and it aired out everything more. Do you get me? It was just like, it kind of helped the process.
I was gonna say, like it's that closure that a lot of people don't actually get to have, like. But at the same time, I think it highlighted very well the complexities of breakups, because it's like, especially if you're the one who breaks up, because it's like, even on Twitter, like, I don't know if you saw the heartbreaks conversations. You missed that. Everyone was like talking about like their heartbreaks. People have suffered, man. And then like we had a conversation in the group chat, and everyone was just like, if you break up with someone, like, do you have a right to be sad? And you're kind of like, well, yeah, you do. Like.
But it's just, it feels so selfish though. It just feels like...
Especially like, because you don't know when to do it. Because once again, I don't like, when I say I'm not capping when I tell you shit, like this, like that literally happened to me where I broke up with someone, and then it's almost like, if you love them, why did you break up with them? I'm like, but there's so many other things going on right now, and it's like, after that, then you have to explain, and everyone expects you to be a certain way, and you're just like, I'm not allowed to be sad, and I'm like, but I am sad, and like, I think that was explained very well in like the EP. But
yeah, it's one of them ones. It's like, love too early is not a good thing.
Do you think?
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like it's ruining a future prospect because you weren't ready to handle this type of commitment.
But are you ever ready to handle?
I think you could be in a better position to.
Yeah, for sure. But you don't experience the same things though.
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, there's always the conversation of like, oh, like people who find love are really young, and then but they don't get to experience other people, other things. But then people who find love really late, like you've almost been beaten and battered, and you're just kind of like, where have you been all my life type thing.
It really depends on that period of time that you took to before you found your person or whatever. It's like, I think this time where you're single is your most selfish period. Like, that is the period that you need to take with all your force. Do you get me? And actually carve out a lane for yourself in this life. Do you get me? Like, figure out your career, figure out what your spiritual stances, figure yourself.
Like, I feel like so many people don't, like, because I've been reading a book about that as well. I just feel like people don't, like, selfish is not taken has a negative connotation to it. It's like, I'm selfish, I'm a bad bee, I'm doing whatever, I want to spend my money on myself doing this. But it's like, selfish is literally finding yourself, because I feel like the society that we live in, what's the word? It encourages like independence and like discourages vulnerability. So it's like, once you go into something, like the man and the woman are meant, like women are meant to be dependent, but they want to, or said to be dependent, but people are struggling with vulnerability. I can't say that word.
No, try to say it again. You got vulnerability. Yeah, you got it. We'll just say you got it.
I've said it before. Vulnerability. Yeah. I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't said that word out loud in a while. I've lost my train of thought.
I hear what you're saying. I was thinking about something when you were talking.
Sorry, I was trying to speak English.
Oh, I lost it.
Sorry. Okay.
That's good. It's my fault. I shouldn't have made it.
Yeah, you made me say it like 7 times. But yeah, basically, like it's almost just like a why am I trying to say big words? A juxtaposition where you're like, the world wants you to be 2 things at once, especially with like social media and everyone throwing their opinions at you all the time. And it's like, I'm personally like someone who's independent, and like I like being with me, but I don't mind being soft. Let's use that word. I can't use any other words. With people, but then on social media, it's almost like that I have to have this city girl look, that I don't care about like FD's N words. Can I say, this is my channel, I can say whatever I want, right? I don't want to say it anyway. Everyone, do you know what I mean? I can do whatever. But it's almost like, then after you put out this persona, and then now I have to like take it back and be like, I know I act like a crackhead, but I can have a serious conversation.
I feel like sometimes we have a lot of expectations on people, that we want them to live up to something that we don't personally. Do you get me? It's like, a lot of girls will say they want a man with a car, and they want a man with a nice job and a nice house and all these things, and it's like, do you have those things?
Yeah.
Do you get me? And vice versa, because guys want girls to be a certain way and stuff, but they're not that. Do you get me? So it's like, I think understanding who you are and like where your ballpark is, do you get me? Like who you are and what you need to keep going forward, like who in someone else.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Because having 2 different people in one room, just because there's a connection or an attraction, it doesn't necessarily breed like a sustainable relationship.
But that's what we're taught though, isn't it? It's that like all the passion and stuff will drive everything else. Like all of that is...
That's the fickle part though, because it's emotions. They just come and go.
Exactly. Like it's more like what you said, like responsibility, commitment and stuff like that. But we learn from what we see. And a lot of the times we don't see those relationships. And when we do see those relationships, they're made out to be boring or not fun or whatever, and not substantial. But realistically, it's the other way around.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, even with everything that we're taught, everything is circumstantial. Do you get me?
What do you mean?
It's like your life will only ever pan out how it's supposed to for you. So like, if I tell you that this is the right way to do it, and try this or whatever, even if you do it, the angle that your life is
seeing
it's always going to be a different result. Do you get me? I think there are principles that everybody collectively can handle, like even in a relationship, communication. That's a principle. We're not telling people how to communicate. We're just saying that is important. You get me? Respect, just different things like that. It's like everyone should know collectively that yes, these are things that we should have within ourselves, and then bring it to a relationship. Or the nuances are always going to be individual.
Yeah. But I mean, I personally blame Apple, just like you know. I know you tried to blame Apple earlier, and I said you couldn't. But
I do blame Apple
this time, because it's just like no matter how hard you try, because it's like no matter how strong you are, no matter how well you know yourself, you're always gonna second guess yourself. Like, because if you go on Twitter and someone says the dumbest thing, and 50,000 people like it, if I don't feel that way, there's something wrong with me? Like, do you know what I mean? Like I'll look at it and I'll be vexed and I'll know that this is not true. But if I'm interacting with someone who like that, how do I navigate that? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, even if like that person may not believe it, but they might feel that it's a necessity because everyone else believes it now.
That's a whole nother topic, you know, like association, like the people that, but this doesn't feel like it's a relationship conversation, but it's more like a friendship thing, you know. When you feel like you believe in a certain thing, but then your friend believes in another thing that opposes what you believe, is that enough for the friendship to not work, or is there other facets that still work?
Yeah, I think it depends on the people. Because like, for example, like I mentioned that I have friends that voted for Trump the last time, and I have more friends that voted for Trump this time, and I was kind of like, after everything you've seen this year, like before I could excuse it, do you know what I mean? After his 4 years in office and everything that happened this year, you voted for him. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, one of my other friends who's like, he's black in America, and he was just like, when people vote for Trump, he's like, nah man, I'm calling everybody out. Like, they ain't my friend. How can you be my friend? Like, going on a mad one. Like, people were texting him, they were like, did you really just block me and everything? He was like, yeah. He was like, you can't be my friend if that's what you believe. So then a friend that was close to me, and I wasn't sure how she was going to vote. One of them, I already know how she's going to vote, and even with Black Lives Matter, she didn't say anything. She didn't like reach out to me, and it's like that. I found that hard, but it's like I didn't want to end the friendship because I was like, you've shown me love my whole life. Why is this the one defining thing? But that was still different. I was like, it's too much for me to be close to you. But this friend reached out to me during that, understands everything, but then she posted a pro-Trump message, but like said, oh, I don't care if you're Trump or Biden, but like you're only posting this because you're pro-Trump. You get me? So then one of my other friends who's black in America texted me. She's like, did you see this person's post? And I was just like, no, because I'm trying to actually avoid all of this because it's emotionally getting to me. And she was just like, yeah, it's pro-Trump, blah blah blah. She was like, are you still going to be friends with her? And I goes, I had to think about it, because I was just like, yeah. I was just like, how, I don't understand how I have to drop all of this because of this one thing. And it's like, it's not that it's not important to me. It's clearly not important enough to her. But at the same time, I looked at it, I was just like, even with Christianity and stuff like that, and I'm like, how do I tell someone that they're not Christian because they voted for this person? I was just like, it's so much more than that. And it's like, and like what you're saying, like I believe that people can disagree, but it depends on people's affinity, first of all, to each other, and then their willingness to make it work. Because it's like, if I texted her and was just like, no, F you, whatever, like, that's gonna hurt me more than her voting for him. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, she's going to suffer if he goes into office. Like,
right. I guess I'm starting to learn that, like, it's probably good to know what each of your friends are there for you. Do you get me? Because you know there's some friends that are just there for bands.
Yeah.
there's some friends that are there that will like hold you down when you're like breaking down or whatever. There are friends that will be there to bring you closer to God. There are friends that are there to talk about business and stuff. You get me? So it's like knowing where those friends fit. Because aside from like your differences, like these people are still good people. Do you get me? You've known them for a while or whatever. It's like it's too much of a connection to just let it go just because of this one thing. But if it's a moral thing that you die by, do you get me? Then you have to really question like how much do you believe in that thing that you're actually talking about.
That was like the first person. That's why, because the Black Lives Matters. So then I was like, this is a bit much. The other person, I knew she was for everything else. So it's just like politics is not black and white, and they love making it seem like it is, but it's really not. They like probably 40% of what they believe is actually the same. They just like, do you know what I mean? Like, did you find that hard, like as an artist, like picking your friends out? Because like a lot of artists come here and they're just like, oh, you know that man that was with you and now they're not, and it's like, oh, there's all fake niggas around you and all this shit. Like
picking my friends, man, I'm so bad at picking friends, but I'm friends with everybody. Do you get me? That's why I'm bad at picking friends, because I don't really
ghost.
It's like I don't really pick friends. It's just everyone.
Just
I treat everyone the same. I almost give everyone the same, and I receive the same. It's like, so I wasn't really. I'd never thought about like, oh, is this friend only here for this or whatever. I was like, yo, until someone proves me otherwise, I'm just gonna pretend like we're best friends type thing. Do you get me?
Has that ever like
backfired?
Yeah. All the time, doesn't it?
Well, it backfired in a way. It wasn't like it didn't hurt me in like a big way or anything. It was just like, whoa, that's different. So, it's like I thought I was cool with everybody, but like this one person just seems to disagree. So I was like,
how do you deal with that then? Like
I immediately just bash myself. I'm like, wait, what did I do? Like, what did I say? Like, how did I approach him wrong? When did it go? And I started deep in our friendship and like where we started and all this and how it became like this, and I've taken my responsibility for why they would feel that way. Do you get me? And I've gone as far as apologizing and like, yo, I'm willing to move on, but you know, can't
it's funny because like it's almost like I hate like quoting Bible verses, but like there's a part where it says like, however, as much as it is your responsibility, like do good to everyone or be okay with everyone. And literally like last week, like I fell out with a really good friend of mine, and like just at some stage I was just like, I don't know what else I'm meant to do, because as a human I will mess up. I'm the biggest mess ever. Like I mess up all the time, and I know that I mess up. Like, and I've no problem saying so. I have no problem taking responsibility. But having that mindset sometimes isn't good, because you take too much responsibility, and it's almost like, yeah, this is all my fault. And it's like at some point they have to accept the apology, unless you're just
not for sure. I think like that's just my natural reaction to be like, oh, it's my fault and blah blah blah. And then until I process it enough to be like, okay, I was wrong here, but you was wrong here and wrong here. Do you get me? And it's like, all right, cool. It's okay to love someone from a distance. Do you get me? It's okay. Like we had our run as friends. I guess we're probably just getting to that age now where it's like some friendships have reached the time limit. Do you get me? I've
had this conversation so many times this week. Like, because one of my friends, like he's fallen out with a lot of his friends, and he feels like he's cut everyone off, and I'm like, you really don't. And it's harder when you come from a tight knit friend group, because it's like you all used to do everything together, now you don't. And it's like I was trying to explain to him, I was like, no, you can just see some people at Christmas, you can do this, like if they hate you because you haven't seen them, then that's on them. Like,
it's also a good opportunity to evaluate your friendship.
Like, why are we friends?
It's like, like, are they adding anything to your life? Are you adding to their life? Is it moving forwards? Like almost like a SWOT analysis. What are their strengths, weaknesses? Like, what are the opportunities of being friends with this person? And that's not like that's not the straight way to do it. Like, it's just, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not like you like if they don't
like
give
life
to you, you don't have to
like
cut
that.
them out.
Like, you don't always look at people like, oh, okay, this is what you can do for me. This is like very like almost like 48 laws of power type thing. It's very rigid.
You're quoting a lot of business stuff. I'm not in my head. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yes.
But I'm saying,
you're right.
But I'm saying to have an element of that, to be like, yo, like
understanding like why they're there.
Having people in your circle is definitely one of those things you have to evaluate. Do you get me? So, like,
I think you have a sick circle, not from a friend point of view, but like when you posted like everyone right before the EP. First of all, Oyinda is amazing.
She's queen, fam.
Amazing. I know you don't do everything yourself, and it's like you always make sure that we know that you don't do everything by yourself. But it's like to have everyone and have that synergy there, like it seems that's probably makes it a lot easier. Like I know you're talking about being frustrated, and obviously like that comes with it, but that definitely helps.
It makes it 10 times easier. Definitely having a team is probably a good next stage in the artist's career. Do you hear me? Like when you finally figure out what type of music you want to make and all of that, trying to now build a team around you is definitely important.
Because initially it's basically just your friends in it, but
but definitely don't take the period that you're alone for granted. I feel like learning how the business works by yourself is super important. Yeah. Because having a team can kind of make you comfortable. Do you get me? Like, and for me, I got into it almost with the team. Do you get me? It's like there was already a structure there that I just walked in. All I had to do was make music. Do you get me? And come up with like a message or whatever. But the overall package was almost handled by so many other people that was like it wasn't me really at the end of it. You get me? And that's something I'm trying to rectify. Like I'm understanding that, all right, cool, having a team is great, but I need to utilize the team. You get me? The team doesn't need to utilize me.
Would that bring a bit of anxiety then when you're dropping music, especially when someone picks the music? Like for example, it'll take time versus Find My Feet.
I see with Stride, I think that was the stage where I was really, I guess a part of the project would have been like, this was all everyone's kind of like input and like, oh, we all like these songs or whatever. But I think towards the end of making the project, I really just almost turned diva and just like, yo, this is actually the story I want to tell. Do you get me? Out of everything we made, this is how I want to tell it. And I took more of a hold, especially towards the end of the project, which is why I feel like that's most cohesive. Do you get me?
I don't want to say anything.
So I was like, yo, this was the process, and I almost felt like, oh, doing an album was so premature. Do you get me? I didn't understand what it meant to make an album. I was just making.
Do you know what's so mad? Is that having you have that mindset, Stride is a very, I think I said this to you on live before, it's a very mature album. Like, like, I don't know how to, like, for me anyway, like from what I'm seeing from Irish artists, it is very mature. Like, not in like a grown-up sense, but it's in a quality of music, songs that are in their cohesiveness, storyline, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it takes a lot of those boxes very well, and it's like for you to have to, like, that's what makes me so interested in artists, because it's like I've heard so many artists hate everyone's favorite song. They're just like, I can't stand that song, that's the worst song in the album. How do you that's the like technicalities of that song is ass, like but it's so interesting hearing that. But it definitely reflects on the album, especially like as you're saying, like as the tracks.
It's all a process, but I think with this project I was kind of like, from the jump I was kind of like, no, do this, no, take this. I think what blurs the line is the finished product. Having someone, I guess, mix it that is used to doing a certain sound, having someone make production for it that is used to doing a certain sound. It's like, I think for me, since Stride, I've grown in a different direction to what Stride was. Do you get me? And it's like, still trying to work within the confines of having a team. Do you get me? It's like, all right, cool. We do that, but I think it's growing into that and being like, all right, cool, now this is what I want to do, and I need you to do this and need you to do this, as opposed to being like,
everyone doing whatever they're doing.
Do you get me? Letting everyone kind of make the decisions.
That's growing, that's learning still as well, you know?
But definitely don't take that lonely period for granted. It's like, it's very important.
But like, talking about business, just to finish off, so you are part of the Irish Black Owned businesses. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
What you want me to say?
Okay, so first of all, let me explain it for people who don't know. Irish Black Owned is essentially a directory of black businesses in Ireland, black people who are doing stuff. That's probably the simplest way, because it's more than just businesses. There's individuals. Exactly. Essentially, if you're looking for anything and you want to support black owned people, it's kind of a place.
Is that something that ever crossed your mind, like at any stage, like where can I find a bunch of black?
Yeah, like this weekend, and I was glad that I had it.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna screen record when I was going through it, but I was like, let me.
It's such a recent mindset, though, isn't it? Like
but at the same time, it's recent because there weren't that many things there, and even the things that were there weren't developed enough. It was our parents doing like random businesses here and there that sometimes didn't last 12 months. Like, you know what I mean? It was very bad customer service because they didn't have those capabilities to do it. So it is recent, it's only new, but I think it's necessary because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's definitely I guess that's the mindset that was birthed during the BLM situation when George Floyd died and the whole uproar started, and we had the protests and all these things happen. I feel like there was a lot of conflict online, even amongst black people. It's like someone saying the wrong thing, or you're cool, and then white people aren't supporting and they're not saying anything. Why aren't you saying anything? Everyone's just kind of almost like there was so many little battles going on in this one big war. And I was always going to be expected to say something, or you know what I mean, like it's like
Jafaris' silence is deafening.
Yeah, you know what I mean, like people actually want to hear what I have to say about it, and I'm like, I've said my little pieces here and there, but for me, I think with Ireland, alright, obviously this is two stories. So race is obviously a worldwide thing, do you get me? And if it affects certain countries more severely than others, right? I definitely can't solve the race issue. Like that's something that's
really wow.
Sorry. Obviously, like when you're seeing all this happen, you're like, what can I actually do? Do you get me? Like me saying this, yeah, it's probably gonna make someone more aware, but who wasn't aware of this? You get me? Who wasn't aware of race?
That question is not actually a rhetorical question. Like, because you would think, oh, who's not aware? Everyone's aware. People actually aren't, and it's like, not to the sense that they are, and that's something that I've learned as well. Because it's like even in football, I've had to talk about it like so many times, and I'm like, I'm not doing any more articles on race, but it's like every single time there's someone new who expresses it to me that they didn't understand. So it's like, it's so annoying that
people can just say that though.
But as black people, we're hyper aware of it because it affects us. I know people who live in areas that are just white people, so to them they can't.
I actually agree.
Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're in Africa, race is not an issue because you're surrounded by black people. So it's the vice versa here. If you're only around white people, you're not going to understand that this is an issue until you're presented with an opportunity.
That's kind of, I guess that's kind of like where the thought process went, because like you can't stop racism, and even more so, you can't stop someone hating you. Do you get me? Regardless of your color, like you can be anyone, you can't stop anyone from hating you. So as a black person, I was just like, I'm not even gonna try and make white people like I'm obviously make them aware, but I can't really make it make sense to them. Do you get me? It just is what it is. They're white. Even if I explain it and give them all the documentaries and stuff, they'll listen and now be able to maybe articulate themselves in a conversation, but they don't feel it the same. Do you get me? So
they can't.
Like that's, for me, that's not the battle I want to fight. Do you get me? I started then looking more towards black people. It's like, all right, cool. Obviously in Ireland, race exists, but it's more so like what you said, it's ignorance. It's like people just don't, they just don't know. Do you get me?
Like my therapist keeps saying colored people, and it annoys me, but I know that she's not being. Do you know what I mean?
Like it's not malice.
Exactly.
There's no malice intention for the most part. I think obviously it exists. And some people hate black people here, but
they're taking our jobs.
It's not quite systematic just yet. We're the first generation, so we're actually ignored. Do you get me? But with that sentiment, I was like, so what are we doing for ourselves here? Do you get me? With this freedom, like we kind of have a freedom that even the UK doesn't have, or like America doesn't have. Do you get me? And I think the the craziest thing that has ever happened to black people is that we've been made feel like all we can amount to is something in the entertainment industry. Do you get me? That's the prized spot. It's like, yeah, I can be an artist, I can be a footballer, I can do this, like all of these
sports
things.
And music.
Yeah, sports and music is literally the things that we are championed for. Do you get me? But that's not where the impact is really made. There's a big influence musically, but it doesn't change anything in terms of like
real life situations.
Real life, do you get me? Like the community and stuff doesn't change because of music. Music just kind of is a way for us to timestamp stuff and, you know, repaint what the world is or whatever, yeah. But yeah, so like I was just thinking, all right, cool. So if we live in this place that is allowing us to do what we do, you get me? It's giving us benefits and stuff. We have jobs, everyone's calm, like it's not too bad. What are we doing with it? Like where are we going? And I started thinking about the businesses that exist here, and I was like, where can I even find that? Because I never actually thought about black businesses until this situation. I was like, where can I find black businesses? And I obviously knew some friends who had businesses, like
so you're only kind of using the people you know,
So I started thinking, all right, cool. And I went on social media, and that was the thing I asked. I was like, yo, does anyone have a list of black businesses that I can check out? And then I gathered like 60 of them on Twitter and stuff. And people kept sending more. Reached out to some friends that were stuck in Manchester because of COVID or whatever. So like we literally was just FaceTiming every day, putting these names onto a spreadsheet and stuff. And just more conversations started happening. It's almost like one thing I feel like Ireland is really good at is pointing out all the problems that are here. Do you get me? We've been gathering problems for years, but very little solutions. Do you get me? I feel like starting with businesses is kind of like a good way of gaining economical power. Cause
that was going to be my next question. Like, how do you feel about, because it's black capitalism at the end of the day, like
it's not,
it's just businesses. Like, it's not just businesses, but like I feel like after this, at some stage, I want to have a conversation about how those businesses are now pushing the community. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so like see with starting with businesses, it's like I think the mentality that exists in the black community of lack of support and not encouraging each other and not trying to grow, like a lot of these business, and that's something we realized when we started doing this, is like there's so many businesses that exist here, but they only exist either on Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat. Do you get me? And it's like we're not thinking bigger than that. Do you get me? We're not scaling up the food businesses. We're not seeing them in festivals. We're not seeing them in food markets. We're not seeing
you can't go to these places.
Do you get me? And if you think about any of the other societies, Indians, Asians, whatever, they all, whenever they gather somewhere, they come together, build a little thing, a restaurant or whatever, and they make it work, and it fares up to the industry. Do you get me? It's mainstream as well. It's doing just as well as McDonald's and stuff. Do you get me?
That goes back to racism and colonialism, like literally, because like there's no such thing as what black people actually are. So it's like to find enough black people who think the same is quite hard, no?
It is. That's the challenge.
Yeah,
that is the challenge. But I think it's very, very possible.
It's doable.
I think it's just a matter of creating a domino effect, because there are people who have the mindset to grow, who have the mindset to support and own things and build and scale up.
But that's in our generation though. We are still quite young. Like
but there's enough of us. Like right now on the directory there's 340 businesses.
Wow.
Do you get me? And we're currently trying to create a program that we can bring even at least 20 of those businesses and really hone in on helping them scale up, helping them to like also like elevate and team up and like learn how to like work in a team, because that's something that we don't know how to do in the black community.
We just go straight to the source by ourselves, when there's someone down the road that could get it.
And all of this is in the hopes for them to like progress, do you get me, and like actually collaborate, build, own things, do you get me? But aside from businesses, obviously that's the route to economical power and stuff, and actually us adding to the ecosystem, like having our own ecosystem, like a functioning one. and also adding to the
What's
general
what's already there.
public. Do you get me? But we also want to tackle like media as well. Like we're starting a YouTube platform called Blish, and that is to further push the narrative of diversity and inclusivity and like showing Ireland from a different perspective. You get me? Because there's so many cultures here, and we don't all get the shine at all. Do you get me? It's like radio, just there's not many of us in radio. There's not many of us on TV. YouTube is just a place that we can own the narrative. Do you get me? And actually create something that the world can be interested in.
You have
Being
that autonomy.
Black
Like,
and Irish is such a thing. Like it's an uncharted territory. Like nobody even believes that we exist.
And that's where the power lies. And it's like, it's annoying every 6 weeks the UK come on, oh my god, there's black people in Ireland. But every single time it's a new person that's being highlighted. Like, obviously we live in a world where anything can go viral, and from there you literally can have a living. Like, that shouldn't be everyone's purpose, but it's good for everyone else anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But all of this is definitely something that will most likely benefit the next generation. It's something that we, I guess, have to work really hard to get to a good place that the next generation can start in another level to us. Do you get me? Like, I feel like we all, as black people in general, just start 10 steps behind. Do you get me? So it's like with IB0 and just the business side of things, we're hoping to get people to the equal playing field. Because like black people aren't being turned away, they just don't know that they have to register, they have to get taxed, and they have to get Garda vetted, and they have to do all the safety checks and stuff. It's like we're crippling ourselves by not knowing. Do you get me? So we're just trying to give them the tools that they need to, like, I guess, become mainstream.
Like I was part of a webinar for football, and they were talking about like diversity and inclusion. They were like, yeah, we're inclusive, and I was like, you can't just say you're inclusive and put it only where white people can see that. I was just like, it's a two-way thing where non-white people, it's not just black people, need to be looking for it, but at the same time you need to put it in a place where they can find it. And it's like it's not actually inclusive if you don't do that. And it's like, it's hard, but if you believe this and this is your mantra and this is something you need to do this work, and you need to figure out where the people actually lie. If all your posters are in the whitest part of Dublin, you're not inclusive. And diversity, I think even the word diversity is taking a different shape, because before it was like male and women, or man and woman, and then it was man, woman, disabled, abled person, and it was like man, woman, black person, Indian, like, and it's almost like sometimes they just try to have one person as like 3 or 4 of those things, when it's like, and it's like, even in that person's not enough, because me as a black straight woman, I don't represent every black straight woman, because my experiences are different. So what I bring into that room is unique to me. It's not every woman's
and
reality.
You ever notice that the one person that they do put in is almost kind of like there's a template for that black person that they want. They want them to look a certain way or act a certain way. And that's just pushing that one narrative. And that's that demographic, because obviously there's more white people, so it's appealing to more white people. So all these white people are seeing this black person act mad or do something like that is not a collective black thing.
And then the black people are looking at them like, what are you doing?
Yeah, do you get
me? Like, I personally like feel like I'm that person, because it's like not even in a like just being the only black girl in football, and it's always just like people come to me to look at things, and I'm like, I don't have the same experiences as the regular black girl. Like, I didn't face a lot of racism. Like, I didn't have. It's like, even hearing people who literally lived down the road from me over the last couple of months, I was like, how did you experience this? And like, it was just like, I just realized that I wasn't like you said, like categories. Like, I wasn't past their threshold of black enough for me to get the violence.
Mad.
Do you know what I mean? And I said to some of my friends in college, I was like, we wouldn't be friends if I was blacker, if I was more Nigerian, if I was more African. Like, you saw me as Irish, and I was like trying to make them understand when they're like, oh, I don't see things like this. I'm like, you haven't been presented with this opportunity for you to understand that you see things like this.
Whoa, I have a white friend that literally her black friend said the same thing to her, and she didn't know how to take it, because she never looked at, or she says she's never looked at black people as like a culture that you just grab from or anything. You should just gravitate towards black people. Just like I just love these people. Do you get me? I don't like all black people. I just like these these people. But her friend group just seems to be a lot more black than other white girls. Do you get me? So like other black girls would then assume that she's appropriating the culture. Or she's just trying to jump on the wave.
It's hard to have those conversations, especially when there's literally race wars going on. You're just kind of like, is it going to be segregation again? Is that what we want? Do we actually want diversity? Because these are conversations that we have to have in the black community. Because it's like
segregation is last resort.
But that's what a lot of black people are actually asking for. They don't know that they are, but that is what they're asking for. A lot of it is only black things. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think it needs to be, like, I don't know how to explain it.
Do you know why that is? It's because
we don't have anything.
We don't have anything. Do you get me? Like, we need to have a few little things for us to be like, we can all grow together.
Yeah.
But if they own everything and we just use what they
knocking
own,
on the doors,
that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
It's multifaceted for sure. Like, there's different ways to look at it.
Yeah, but then we definitely need to start owning, like, being black. You know, in Ireland, I feel like we, like, as black people, almost tread on eggshells sometimes when we think of functions and it's too black. It's like, oh nah, we can't. We just have to like make it a bit more white, and it has to appeal to this white demographic. And it's like, no, BT exists. Do you get me? Like, that's all black. Do you get me? So like, why can't that exist on this side of the planet? Do you get me? But yeah. Well,
do you have anything? I think that's a good place to end on. Do you have anything else to say, like, or any things you want to plug?
On that note, like, we are actually creating something for black people. Well, I can't say that. So it's first of all, it's a New Year's special, right? So we're trying to put together like a show. Very.
We're still talking about Blish.
No. This is not Blish. This is literally myself, IB0, the Diffusion Lab, Oin. So she's directing the show and styling the show. So we literally have like a lineup of just the best black people in the community. So you get me, like,
I'm obviously going to be number one in that.
We have from artists like Jay Lowell and Officer and Unique and Abi Koulibaly and Loa, all these people. And then we have the Where's Your Head At podcast. They're going to be on it. And we're going to have some dancers. So we're literally we're showcasing just like the Irish black scene, I suppose.
Like what it is right now.
Highlighting it, and at the end of it with the hopes to kind of give back to homelessness, which is, I guess, the most pressing crisis that we have in Ireland. You get me? And this is kind of like an extension of something I started last year called the Give Back Season, where like people come and just donate clothes and donate money and stuff to homelessness. But
that was in Tulla Vintage, was it?
Yeah. So this time it's going to be a New Year special, and then get people to donate to homelessness, and showcasing ourselves to
that's
the world.
Cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, just keep a lookout for that.
Nice. If you do a better job of marketing it, you know.
It's definitely it's an ambitious thing, because literally this idea just was birthed like last week.
It's okay. They're the best ones.
Yeah, so
it's okay.
Yeah.
You have no choice but to make it work.
Yeah, because I said it now. You know?
Exactly.
But it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be the best show that's happened in Ireland.
It's good. Ever. Excited for that. But once again, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say, plug, anything else?
No, I appreciate what you're doing, man.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm gassed.
I appreciate your knowledge of the scene, your knowledge of music, and your intellectual ability to have a conversation like this. You know what I mean? This is probably the longest interview I've done. Like,
I think it's an hour and 2 minutes.
It didn't feel like an interview, really. Like, I've said that before and I've lied, but I actually mean it this time.
Okay, well, I don't know how to believe you. Can't tell me you said the same thing and lied.
No, genuinely.
I appreciate that. Literally, I'm gassed.
Thank you.
No worries, but yeah. Bye. Wait, I should probably like do an outro. I'm like. You gassed me too much. I lost my head. Thanks for listening, guys. Once again, this is Jafaris. I'll tag him and all the socials and everything. If you're interested in anything we talked about, IB0, if you have a business, anything else, reach out to me, reach out to him, IB0. Anything else, let me know. All right. Thank you. Bye.